What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to turn these beautiful golden apples into this awesome and spicy golden apple achar. Now I've already shared the traditional mango achar on my channel and I wanted to go ahead and share a different variation with you guys. This one is absolutely simple to put together and it will accompany so many great dishes on your plate. The first thing that we're going to do to make this achar is cut off the ends of the golden apple. And once you cut off the ends, you're also going to go ahead and take your vegetable peeler, or you can use a paring knife, and you're going to peel off that skin on the outside. You do not want to go too deep, but you want to make sure to get that excess skin off. So I'm going to go ahead and do this to all of my golden apples, and then I'll show you what to do next. For the next step, you're going to want to take that golden apple that you peeled, and you're going to grate it on the largest side of your grater until you get these fine shreds like this. Now you're going to grate down and you're going to see that there's like a stringy seed on the inside of the golden apple. That is totally fine. Just keep working your way around it and grating off all of that flesh. Now it is up to you whether or not you want to go ahead and add the seed into the achar or not. I prefer not to, just because it makes it easier for people to eat if they don't have to eat around the seed. So I'm just using all of the flesh. I'm just going to keep on grating all of my golden apples until I finish getting all of the flesh grated. And after grating all of the golden apples, you're going to see that they're very, very wet. So we have to squeeze out some of that moisture to make an achar, because you need a dry or semi-dry mixture to make achar, or else it will spoil. Now after grating the golden apple, you need to squeeze out some of the excess liquid. As I said before, whenever you're making achar or any of these pickled condiments, you have to make sure that any excess moisture is gone, or else they can spoil or sour, especially when you're leaving it out onto the counter. Now I always leave mine in the fridge just because that's my preference, but especially if you're a person that likes to leave it on the counter, you have to do this step until it is nice and dry. Another alternative to squeezing it in a towel like you see that I'm doing here is to go ahead and put it in your oven if you have like a dehydration setting, or if you actually have a dehydrator, you could do it that way. But I'm just going to go ahead and do it the old school way, and I'm going to squeeze out that excess liquid. Once you finish squeezing the golden apple, you should feel that it's just a little bit moist on the outside, but it is definitely much drier than before. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to leave it in my fridge overnight, and being that it's in that cold fridge, it'll help dry it out a bit. And I'm going to leave it on my counter the next morning for a couple of hours until it dries out some more. Now, if you are in an area with a lot of sunlight and a very, very hot weather, then you can go ahead and leave it out there for just a couple of hours and it'll dry up really well. I left this in my fridge overnight, and then I left it on my counter for a couple of hours the next morning. And as you guys can see, it's turned very dry and almost crispy around the edges. That is totally fine. It will soften up once we put the mustard oil and all the other seasonings on it. Again, if you wanted to, you could put it out into the sun for a couple of hours, just let it dry as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some salt to season it, and when you're making achar, you want a good amount of salt so you can get a very pungent flavor. And you're also going to go on with some mustard oil. Now, if you are in an area where you absolutely cannot find mustard oil, then you can go ahead and swap it out with some light tasting oil such as vegetable oil or canola oil, or you can even use a light olive oil. What I'm going to do now is pound some garlic and some hot wiri peppers in my mortar and pestle. You could blend these up in a food processor, or you could chop them up really fine. I just really like pounding them because they really release all of their natural oils and they get to the right texture for me. So I'm just going to keep on pounding them, and for this dish you want a lot of wiri peppers or a lot of spicy peppers in general, so this way it can have a nice kick. I'll of course have all of my ingredients and measurements down in the description box below this video. Once you finish grinding up the pepper and the garlic, you're going to add it onto your golden apples with the mustard oil and the salt, and then we're going to start to add on some fresh spices. We're going to go on with some roasted and ground mangrile, also known as nigella seeds. They should sell this at any Indian or West Indian store where there's lots of spices, so go ahead and check that out. And I'm also going to go on with a little bit of freshly roasted and ground cumin, also known as geera. I have a recipe for that on my channel, and I'll link it down in the description box below. And the last thing I'm going to go on is with some amchar masala. Now I usually use the Chief brand amchar masala because that's what I usually find at my local Indian store, but use whatever brand of amchar masala you can find. And all I'm going to go ahead and do is mix this up really well until everything is combined. And if you see that it's looking a little bit too dry, you can always add in a little bit more of that mustard oil. After about a minute of mixing, you're going to see that the golden apple starts to soften up a bit with the addition of the oil and the salt and the spices. And you're going to see that everything is just well combined. So at this point it is done and it is ready to be bottled up. I'm placing my achar in a glass mason jar. Something with a very tight lid is what you want to put it in. And you can either leave this on your countertop to sit and it will stay for about a month on your countertop or even longer because the oil and the salt preserves it. But I always like to just keep it in my fridge just because that's my preference. Now once you add it into the jar, you're going to top it off with a little bit of mustard oil or the oil that you're using. The reason why you want to do that is to keep it from drying out, because if it dries out, that is what can cause it to go ahead and spoil. So once you go ahead and cover it, you can leave it and let it marinate for at least a couple of days before you serve it. Now, once you serve it, you can eat it with dal and rice, you can dip your bara or any of your fried snacks into it, and it can be eaten amongst many other things. It is really delicious, and I hope you guys enjoy this quick and simple way of making this condiment. If you guys enjoyed the video today, please give it a nice big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can become part of the Matthew's Guyanese cooking family. And if you click that little bell notification icon, then you'll be notified every time I post my newest recipes. Please leave your comments down below and let me know what you guys would like to see next, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye everyone.